chemicals.
All these different chemicals have been trying to get gunk out, and it turned that paint stuff into a sticky goo. Check this out. I've been soaking with acetone. Look at the gunk we're getting out now. I was starting to get stuff that was balling up inside, and so I took a bunch of different steel poles and stuff to try and scrape some of it out so that it'd come out easier.
Like a whole alien world growing in there.
I found that boiling water was helping to make a lot of the debris release off of the steel. There was a fair bit of tedious reaching in with these magic fingers and pulling out debris that I just couldn't get to fall out no matter how hard I shook or which direction I turned the tank. So I spent a couple hours just pulling pieces out. So I took the tank up to work where I've got a pressure washer, and I spent about 4 hours with the pressure washer down inside that tank and rinsing out, and we got even more debris out of there. And here's down inside the fuel tank. It's not perfect, but shouldn't be plugging things up anymore, and just need to occasionally swap out our fuel filter. And here we are finally putting the fuel tank back on the car. There's some wires that go through there that we had to get aligned and made sure they were feeding through correctly, and took a little bit of finagling, but we finally got everything positioned and we were able to put the tank back in place and then bolt everything up. So with the fuel tank back in the car, it's now time to put things back together, starting with our fuel gauge. Went ahead and got that positioned into place with its new cork gasket. Then put this little slip ring on there, and then can tighten it all down together with the retaining nut. Using that special tool again to hold everything in place and make sure that we get everything nice and tight so that it seals up really well and we don't have any fuel leaks. And here I am checking. I've got a magnet on the float inside, and everything moves smoothly. So then we can go ahead and put our dash back on, get all those parts wired back up, and then we put that in place and then secure it with the screws that it has. So now we're going to create a new fuel line to replace this one that comes out of the tank. As you can see, this one kind of sticks. There's a lot of gap here between the firewall and where that hose is, and so it can kind of get where your legs are. It sticks out quite a ways, and we're going to now try and hug really close here and then make it around, and then we'll eliminate this really small restricting valve, and we'll put in this valve so that we get a good nice fuel flow through it. Okay, so here's our new line made without the valve in it yet. Now we will trim it out and get our valve installed. And there we have it, our new fuel line and shutoff valve. So this is fuel off, and that is fuel on. Okay, time to put some gas in it and leak check everything. Make sure none of our connections are leaking. Fuel gauge is working. We got 5 gallons in there and we're showing half a tank. So far not seeing any leaks. We're only testing here and over to right here because the valve is closed at the moment. Now when we turn this valve, we should see the sediment bowl start to fill with fuel. So now I'm going through and checking all of our connections that we've made and verifying that we don't have any fuel leaking or dripping or any kind of wetness at all on any of these connections. You can see the fuel has even already made it up to this filter and is ready to pump into the carburetor. Sweet, she runs. So now that we know that it runs with all of the fuel line changes and everything we've made so far, our next step will be to take apart the carburetor and give it a fresh rebuild, clean everything out, make sure all the ports are clear, all fresh gaskets and everything. And then we can get this thing to really run like a dream. But you can see that we've got much cleaner, better fuel flow now. It was pretty easy to see that the fuel is no longer restricted like it was before. So I think we can have this thing just running like a dream here pretty soon.